Hey everyone, it's Ewan from TAG here. Just giving you a little bit of a look at a UCI we built recently for a trade show here in Australia. This one was built for one of the new 10-inch G3 panels, and it looked really sharp on there. For this demo, I've got the panel next to me actually, which I'm navigating through, but I'm just giving you a screen capture directly from within Designer, just so it looks a little bit better. This is built pretty much entirely with the UCI script editor, so it will be portable and using CSS. This one's not available for me to hand out just yet. We've got to make a few little changes to it, but once it is available, I know I always promise it, but I will put it up on communities. So don't ask me for it just yet. I know I always get a lot of, when I post these videos, we normally get quite a few messages saying, hey, can I get the file? But look, I will get it up on communities as soon as it's ready to go. So this first loading page was built with the new SVG renderer in Lua. So I reused this sort of script a few times in the design for some volume controls and things like that. We were doing a little bit of a status check on the system as well at the same time. So I'll just select video conference mode here. Now we had a couple of MV32s, we had dual displays, some MTR integration on the stand, so a little video page here is just sort of changing MV32 sources using name components, and of course we had the new camera preview which enables HDMI 1 and an MV32 output to show one of the QSYS cameras on there. We tried to keep this UI as clean as possible. I found, after playing around with a bunch of layouts, menu positions, I found this sort of bottom right menu position works really well, because as you've got your hands sort of leaning on the table, and the touch panel was on a tabletop mount, it allows you to go through the menus without your hand actually hiding things on the page, so you don't constantly have to kind of move your hand around the screen. We tried to keep everything fairly ergonomic, and it seemed to work pretty well, considering I was playing with it all day long. With the camera selection here, we had a couple of the new NC cameras with PTZ control, and then we also had one of the new NC 110s, and with the NC, obviously, when you're zoomed out, you can't pan around the image. So we've got some logic in there to stop you being able to pan until you zoom in a little bit, and then you can move around the image. So we've just switched over to look at the live panel. So on the G3 panels, we get that real-time rendering of the camera images now, rather than that 1 second JPEG that we used to get. So you can see there, the motion is nice and smooth. It's very responsive, no real noticeable lag, and that was definitely a big hit at the show. We had a little bit of soft phone integration in here, where we're doing some number formatting, and then sort of mimicking that sort of iPhone style hang up and dial functionality there. You know, some little things like press and hold delete. The coffee ordering system, you won't see anything show up on the queue at the moment, because this was actually reading a queue from a sort of master coffee ordering core that was accepting orders from all around the different cores on the trade show stand, and then we have a barista display where they can you know, let people know when their coffees are ready, and then obviously a display for the crowd to see when their coffees are ready. A little bit of lighting control there. We had some microphone control there, and you can see that's where we're using that SVG rendering again. So we're doing something a little bit fancier with the volume control, in that we have this sort of default slider that we can move around the place. The volume controls, of course, work the same way. Everything's press and hold. The difference with this one is, we've got this icon down the bottom right there, the volume icon, and this works the same way as you expect from your Windows PC or Mac, in that as the volume changes, the icon changes to sort of let you know where the volume's sitting at a glance. And that's done. That button, the menu button's a state trigger, and it's got a bunch of states depending on the volume level, the mute status, and if the layer's selected, and then we're using CSS to assign the appropriate icon. So now on to the help desk page. So special thanks to Kevin from QSC. He gave us his help desk plugin, and we've modified that. Basically just used the webhook URL integration, and then we've kind of modified it, basically just used it as a name control to work directly with our UCI script in here for all the layer control and things like that. But essentially the way it works, you can, click on a button on the touch screen. Hey, the audio's not working. You can see there we get a little pop-up, scrolling pop-up, and you may have heard in the background there a little notification. So if I click on my phone right now on that notification, and then I get a link, whatever link you define in the script, basically, for a room status, or also a direct link to a UCI, and that can either be directly via Core Manager or via the cloud via Reflect. So if you've got a support team and they're somewhere else, not on site, you can get that pop up on your phone, and you can jump straight onto the UCI or the status page directly via Reflect. So that was definitely a big hit. Now if I jump over to this is what the support page looked like. Obviously a bunch of this stuff's not online, which is why it's orange. And then we can just click on a response here. We can modify that response, and then we can send it to the panel. And now if I jump back there, you can see there we've got this sliding pop-up that's jumped in there with the response from the support team. So on top of that stuff, just some bits and pieces. We can of course switch between modes very easily. We had some camera tracking bits and pieces that we were doing as well. So just jumping back into some of our controls. Now all these controls were built using state triggers. So at the moment they're talking to name controls, or name components I should say, because obviously we're using MV32s. But if you're using third-party equipment, you want to make sure that, hey, you've pressed the button, you've seen the button interact, but you've seen the button change, but is it actually interacting with the unit? So all of this is based on actual feedback. So the state trigger sends the command, and I'll move over to my mouse rather than touching my touch panel so you can actually see when I'm clicking on it. But it's still very, very snappy, using that sort of trigger, send it to the component, and then receive the feedback, and then light up the button once we've got feedback, so we know that we're in sync. So yeah, that's it. Like I said, I'll endeavor to get this packaged up, so I can post it up on communities as soon as I can. Cheers.